Oh, well. Arsenal 4, Aston Villa 1. What a cheap goal to concede right at the end. But anyways, where should we start? Um, let's start with the lineup. Rice Rice was injured. I actually saw a clip this week where he was begging to come off after like the 60th minute, and the manager decided to just keep him on for whatever reason. Again, we'll get onto that later on. But yeah, Rice wasn't in the lineup, and then I looked at the lineup, and I'll be so honest with you guys. I just done this. Like, this was my reaction when I saw that lineup, and then when I saw the Villa lineup, and then I just went like this, because I was like, for the criticism that we gave Unai when he was at the when he was at the when he was at the clubs all those years ago, about being pragmatic, being too cautious, and all these things. And I was thinking, hey, you know what? Maybe maybe he's learned, maybe that he's got more players available at Villa than he did at Arsenal. I mean, one thing is for sure, that the quality of players he's had at Villa, I would say, are better than what he was dealing with at the time with Arsenal. And this whole notion I've seen with Emery, that you know, Emery could have done a better job than Arteta and stuff like this, which I do agree with. I think if we had Emery, we would have been a bit more successful within the kind of realm that Arteta has been given in terms of the budget and stuff like this. I do agree with that notion, but one thing I don't agree with is that we shouldn't have sacked Emery. I think, looking back, obviously hindsight's 2020, but Emery just wasn't the right manager at the time. And it was so evident that it wasn't the right manager, it wasn't the right fit. And also, it was almost like a baptism of fire for him, almost, because he was the manager that came straight after Arteta. Sorry, God. Oh, no. He's the manager that came straight after Wenger. So there was a lot of pressure riding on them, and it just didn't work out. And it also didn't help with the whole Gudibin and stuff. But anyways, yeah. So I looked at that lineup and I was thinking, wow, okay, they're actually going for it. And I was thinking, oh, no McGinn. I was like, okay, he's going for it, but he's been a bit cautious with it. But he still managed to find the right balance. And I saw that midfield of Villa, Onana, Tielemans, and Morgan Rogers. I was thinking, okay, it's a robust, industrious midfield, but with a bit of brute going forward. And I was thinking, okay, this could get very techie. Because I was looking at our midfield and I was thinking, mate, honestly, look, this honestly might sound like a personal attack on Marino and Arteta, and I genuinely don't want it to be that, but it's very hard to ignore just the constant, not only mismanagement, but also the constant mistakes that you keep repeating. Because I don't know how many more times you need to see Marino in that midfield to tell you that it just doesn't work. I don't, honestly, guys, I'm struggling I'm running out of vocabularies that are PG to explain what I don't see in Marino in the midfield, and why he keeps playing him in there. Because in that first half, not only do we not have pace on the width, you're now essentially taking away the robustness of that midfield by adding a player that's very, very sluggish on that ball. He's not going to cover ground nowhere near as aggressive as Rice does, and nowhere near as efficiently as even Odegaard does. Because Odegaard is actually underlooked in terms of how much ground he covers. He covers a lot of ground. When you watch Odegaard for like 5 minutes, watch him for like 5 minutes, watch how much ground he covers every time we're on the back foot. He covers a lot of ground. And I said this in a previous match reaction, and I said this, and I'll say it again. When you put Marino in there with Zubamendi and Odegaard, Zuberman and Odegaard are being overworked because they're effectively doing two man's jobs in individually, because that first half, don't get me wrong, that first half was poor. And I don't think for even a Premier League standard, it could have got even worse than that, because honestly, I can't see how you could make that first half even worse than what we did against Wolves, but we somehow managed to do so. But anyways, look at Villa's opportunities. Not only were they on the break, but also it was two passes cut through down the middle. Like, guys, Villa were not breaking through us on the flanks. They were breaking through us through that midfield. Like, the first chance, I don't know what Onana was doing. That was a clear dive. But look how open we were in that first chance. And in that second one, I remember it was Sancho, nicely weighted pass, to be honest. That was a very nice weighted pass and great slide tackle. But two opportunities, bang, bang. And the reason why is Mourinho doesn't cover enough ground. He's just not mobile enough in that midfield. Like, the only way Mourinho works in that midfield is if you put him next to Rice, if you put next to essentially two road runners to cover the ground for him, but then you negate the other side of it, which is the attacking side, because I don't think he offers nothing substantial attacking wise. Okay, he might do some nice tricks and flicks here, but a lot of the time when he receives the ball, he only pivots like on a 90-degree. So he gets the ball he normally either shifts it to the left back, or he shifts it facing this way, which is where Trossard is. But a lot of the time, if you actually see with how Odegaard receives the ball and how Zubimendi receives the ball, a lot of the time they scan. One, they scan, and two, they let the ball run across their body first, and then a lot of the time is the actual pass opportunity is on the other side, and it just helps us progress the ball a lot quicker. When you have someone like Mourinho, who's just so short-sighted when he receives the ball, it means that a lot of the times the passing angles are cut off, because he, one, does not see it, and two, does not move his feet quick enough to let off that pass, and three, his feet doesn't move quick enough to even sort his feet out and pass the ball. A lot of the time, he's just trying to sort his feet out, and it kills the momentum. He's a momentum killer. He's not a player who you want to be playing or starting when we're on the front foot. Like I said before, you take him out of this midfield and you put him in and you take him out again. There's nothing I see in terms of his quality that I can say we need him in there. There's nothing we gain by adding him in there, and there's nothing we lose by not having him in there. So he's a net negative, and I don't understand why he's there. Like, Mourinho should be a bench player at very best, and that's me being very kind. Like, if we're gonna use Mourinho, use him as a centre forward. Other than that, he should not be anywhere near this team. He's just not the type of player that we need, especially when we're on the front foot, because you saw that lineup Villa came. Villa had the idea of coming to deal with us, but in actual practice, they were very poor in large spells of that game. But we just didn't help ourselves again with that sluggish midfield, because you're effectively playing 2 6s and an 8. Because I don't see Mourinho as an 8. I see him as a 6. And I definitely do not see Odegaard as a 10. He's more of an 8. He's a roamer. He likes to pick up the ball and drive. He hasn't got that. Okay, he can pull off the pass here and there, but a lot of the time, Odegaard's main key skill is being able to receive the ball and drive, and he does it very, very well. But look, we done all right in that second half, and to be honest with you, I'm so glad that the fans booed the players and the manager, because what a pathetic first half that was, because I don't know what the hell that was. And second of all, we have no pace out wide. So if we have no pace out wide and then you partner up that midfield, it's just a recipe for nothingness almost, because our defense is trying our best to keep Ollie Watkins and Sancho at bay, but then our midfield and attack is moving like we're towing a lorry. Like it's just it was a very poor first half, and it was an indictment on how poor our forward line is, because even when we had the chance, Gyökeres had that chance, and and with the header, which some people say is a difficult chance. I'm kind of here or there. I think that was a much easier chance than what people say it was, because he kind of jumped a little bit too late with that. And yeah, I don't think it was a hard chance, but I don't think it was a difficult chance. So I don't think it was an easy chance. I think it was a chance that a decent striker, like even like Giroud, could have probably got there on target, to be honest. And with Gyökeres, I think today was a much better performance than we normally see. At least at the very, very minimum, he's able to get at the end of these balls now. Like in the previous 18 odd games, like I can't even say he was doing that. Like so, it's and there's a bit in that first half where Raya, for some weird reason, decided to pass him the ball, and you can just see I was like, oh no, like honestly. Look, this sounds like a hate. Like I'm just hating the guy, but genuinely, like it's yeah. But honestly, that first half, I am absolutely pleased and glad the fans booed, because that's the level of accountability that this club needs, because that we're going for a title and you're playing like that, first of all, and the players need to understand the frustration of the fans as well, because you've told us countless times, season after season, that manager stood on that pitch at the end of every season and told us not to be satisfied with second, not to be satisfied with this, and he's coming out with this pragmatism football. And I'm telling you, at some point, that midfield of Marino, Odegaard, and Zubamendi is going to kill us this season, and it's going to kill us in the worst game possible. We're gonna come up against a team that we expect to beat at home, and he's gonna pull out that midfield, and we're going to get absolutely moved to. It's only a matter of time. Don't let this result fool you, because that first half we were getting ran ragged, and bits of that second half as well. And I was shouting at the screen because he was this close to getting himself sent off and would have been immediately in the back foot for like 30 minutes, but we got away with it. But that second half was a lot bit better showing. That Jesus took his goal really well. You see the difference between Jesus and someone like Gyökeres. Gyökeres is effectively goal hanging, but Jesus timed his run really well, and if you actually watch his movement just before he gets that ball, he peels off Konza just at the right time. And this is my issue with Gyökeres. A lot of the time, Gyökeres doesn't do that. If you replay that scene, but with Gyökeres instead of Jesus, Gyökeres is running towards the back post. He's not peeling off. He doesn't see that that ball could potentially be dragged back, and that's where the chance is. Because a lot of the time, does that ball ever reach the back post? A lot of the time, because there's 3 or 4 defenders in between that ball and the goalkeeper, you're banking on so many factors going your way for that ball to reach that back post. The actual smarter move was to do what Jesus does, which is peel off and get the shot off, and he took his goal really well. It's about time we beat Villa, because it feels like we struggle against Villa, but we actually beat them last season. But I don't know why every time we play them, it always just feels like our backs against the wall compared to what we had last season, where it was 2-0. We were 2-0 up and we end up drawing frustrating games. So this is a much better performance from us against Villa, and it gives us some breathing ground against Villa as well, because this game could have gone either way, because if they win, it's open season now, because that blue shark is still behind us, and we need to ensure that we stay on top and create a gap between them. We just hope that Sunderland do us a favour tomorrow. But yeah, good performance in the second half, poor in the first half. He needs to make changes a lot sooner as well. I'm not sure what happened with Eze. I'm not sure if Eze's, I don't know what's happened with Eze. Eze's not coming on. Norgard is coming on instead. Noni Madueke is coming on for like 10 minutes. I'm not sure what kind of game management he's doing with this squad, but we definitely needed some legs in that midfield, and he gambled and didn't do that. It paid off today. but it would definitely not pay off in the long run. We kind of need to stop doing that midfield. I'm not sure if he sees Mourinho in himself, because I can kind of see it now. Mourinho and Arteta, they were very similar in terms of how they play. But I guess Arteta had a bit more legs than Mourinho. Mourinho's just too flat-footed. I just do not want to see him in that midfield. It's heart attack every time I see him in there. But anyways, good performance. We needed the win. Sorry, good bits of performance in that second half, because what a dumb goal to concede towards the end. We had a good 30 minutes and we punished them, and we punished Villa for that. But then apart from that, it was a pretty average performance, but happy with the victory and keep it moving.